And we want to say, good evening, Mr. Mayor. Okay, if we can settle down, we're moving underway. Welcome, everybody. My name is Chris Epting. I'm a resident of Huntington Beach, and I'm a newspaper columnist here at Huntington Beach. I'm here tonight as a citizen and as part of the Huntington Beach Community Forum, which is, I guess, sponsoring or hosting this event. Michael Daly, where are you? Where's Mr. Daly? Over here in the corner. Michael will, a couple of months ago, it was hard for a lot of us to imagine this kind of event. This group, the Huntington Beach Community Forum, did that just a few months ago. It really happened when, we'll let this table itself here. And it's okay. What's interesting is a couple of months ago, Michael Dale and Craig Franklin was here as well. These guys were not community activists. These were just citizens who felt like maybe it would be good to create a Facebook page of all things, just to invite people to speak their mind and debate and get involved. And it really took off, I think, in a very positive way. It's not always friendly, but it's always, I think, spirited and it's knowledgeable. We have some great people posting. The page is over 3,000 people now, and I really appreciate what you guys have done, so thank you very much. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. Thanks to all the candidates who are here tonight, too. One thing I've learned the last couple of months is watching what these candidates do, and just to the amount of mental focus, the amount of time it takes in your personal life, it is a very daunting thing, so thank you all for being here as well. We're going to hear, I think, some great questions tonight and some great pieces. I read a quote recently to the effect of, if you don't get involved in government, your local government, one of the penalties is that you wind up being governed by your inferiors. And that was said by Plato, and so I think it's a very time-tested quote. And for all of us we call jokingly troublemakers here tonight, it really is nice to see this kind of community activity. It's a very exciting thing to watch. And just the fact that a group is formed online and it has the effect that it has in a few months, I think, is really positive in this city. Huntington Beach is a very active, very dynamic city. You'll see tonight we've got all kinds of different candidates, all of whom we all respect and wish the best of luck tonight and the rest of their campaigns. So without further ado, I want to bring up Mr. Jerry Wheeler. He's the president of the Huntington Beach Chamber of Commerce. He will be your MC for the evening and run the questions. Jerry, join us, please.
All right, getting everybody back to your seats. We've got some candidates up here who are anxiously awaiting the opportunity to do nothing but share their thoughts with us this evening. Hopefully I'm not in too much of a way there. And again, we will have the dinger going. Thank our timekeepers here for helping us out, especially on the one questions where it does get a little bit longer. A lot of these are short answers. So, all right. So we've got 7 of our 11 candidates here this evening. We've got well, they're totally represented by all different types of backgrounds and occupations and all sorts of stuff. And I think I'm quickly going to hand the mic and let everybody themselves just quickly say hello, who they are, and we'll hear.
My name's Alex Polsky. I've lived in Huntington Beach for 15 years. I'm not a political insider, and I'm running with a view toward change. I'm a professional mediator and arbitrator. As a lawyer who specializes in dispute resolution. I teach at the USC Law School. I'm a former prosecutor, current member of the Sheriff's Professional Reserve.
I'm Lynn Sametta, and I'm also an attorney. I'm a community volunteer with the homeless and battered women and so forth. And I lived in Huntington Beach. I went to Huntington Beach High School and then up to UCLA and down to USD after that. And I moved back here permanently in 1996.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Barbara Del Blaze, and I've lived in the city for 40 years, raised my daughter here, and I'm a businesswoman. I've been a real estate broker for almost 39 years. I'm very passionate about the city. I advocate for it every day, and I want to be your next city council member. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Mark Bixby, and I've lived in Huntington Beach for 15 years. My day job is a software engineer, and I write software for K-12 school districts.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Billy O'Connell, and it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I've been a resident for the city of Huntington Beach for over 20 years, and I love this city. It's a great city. I see some challenges in our city, and I believe that working together with you, we can fix those challenges. I'm very active in our community. I do a lot of community work. I work with our business community, and I'm looking forward tonight to sharing more about what I do in our city. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Cozy. I've lived downtown 15 years with my wife Jeannie. My day job is international business with high-tech machinery, and love the city and want to improve it with a business perspective, and that's it.
Hello, my name is Eric Peterson, a lifelong resident here. I did leave for 5 years, served in the Marine Corps. I am raising a family here with my wife. She's a teacher in the Huntington Beach Union High School District. We have two wonderful boys, 17 and 14. I'm your current chair of the Planning Commission, and I've been on the Finance Board and been a Scoutmaster and still a Scoutmaster. Do a lot of community volunteer work.
So now you know who they are. Now we're going to kind of lay out the format for you. We've got a combination of a couple things. First of all, we're going to do some paddle raises. The paddle raise means we're going to ask a question. They all get 30 seconds to answer that question by raising a paddle. No commentary, no chance for this, that, and another. Question to answer, yes or no. So if you see a green color, that means yes. If you see a red color, that means no. Following those questions, we'll then go to a series of questions where actually each candidate will have a chance to respond to that question. And it depends on the question how long. They get 1 minute, 2 minutes. And then at the end of that, we'll also do like a rebuttal or a closing statement, and that's a 3-minute rebuttal time, which will kind of close out the like their closing statements. So do we have any more questions about anything? Everybody? Okay? All right, we're going to start with the paddle questions. So everybody, start your paddles. No. Okay, let me come on. Right. So we have your paddles ready, all right? So, again, 30 seconds to answer the question. It shouldn't take 30 seconds, but you have 30 seconds. Timekeepers, you ready? Okay. First question. Are you supportive of keeping our beach wood-burning fire pits as is? Wow. Question number 2. Do you support annexing the Bolsa Chica wetlands into the city of Huntington Beach? Okay, 5-2. All right. Question number 3. Do you support the Poseidon Project? Okay. All right. Question number 4. Do you support the current plastic bag ban? Question number 5. Do you support a general plan update that includes more element content than required by Sacramento? Gotta think about that one. No, you got that right. Very good. Okay. Okay, and last but not least, is everybody getting this if you're keeping score? Okay, all right. Question number 6. Are you currently supportive of the new senior center being built in the voter-approved Central Park location? Okay, all right. There we go. Our candidates have answered their paddle raises. You can now retire your paddles. Okay, the first question is going to be for all of you. We'll start with Mr. Polsky, and you each get 1 minute to answer the question. Timekeeper, 1 minute to answer the question. We are going to allow time, of course, to walk to the mic so that you can actually answer the question. So once you get to the mic, you got a minute. Okay? So first up will be Alex Polsky, and the question is, being a council person requires many levels of real-world experience. Perhaps people vote for various candidates because they come across as experienced business people. In 1 minute or less, please tell us, what business experience do you bring with you to City Hall?
Hi, I'm on the board of directors of the... I serve on the board of directors and as an owner of the largest private dispute resolution service in the world. We are called JAMS. I'm experienced in understanding balanced budgets, staffing, human resources, litigation. I have a background as an elementary school teacher. The business of teaching is a real business. I have been involved in the resolution of thousands of disputes involving business interests and business entities. I've been involved in managing the balancing of books. Alex Polsky Inc. is a Huntington Beach company that is my mediation practice through JAMS. I understand the need to apply a business interest and a monetary litmus test before we go off into individual ventures, whether that's the annexation or whether that are other issues within the city. So it's that background that would have me take a look at issues from the point of view of the best for the city generally and generically, and can we afford it, Dean?
Thanks, Alex. Next up, Lynn.
Is that gonna work?
Yeah, I think so.
So I am an attorney, and my clients have been businesses and property owners, and so I understand business contractual law, which would be very important, I think, as a council person, all the contracts that you will need to deal with in that job. I have owned my own firm with a partner, and so I understand balancing budgets and living within your means as a business, which I think is also very important for a city council to keep in mind, something we need to work on. I understand that having too much debt is not a good thing as a city. And again, I've done business litigation, so I understand those concerns as a business person as well. So I bring that to the table, as well as my experiences on the Planning Commission, the Investment Advisory Board here in the city, and a lot of my volunteer work as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Barbara, can I just help you 1 second?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. I am a longtime resident of the community, and I've been proud to tell you I'm a residential real estate broker almost 39 years. I currently work at RE/MAX Select One. I'm a broker associate. I don't own the office, but I do own a small business called Del Blaze Property Management. I've managed anywhere from 60 to 80 properties here in the city and cities surrounding us for clients. I've also interacted with a lot of businesses in town. I have payroll myself to meet. But the best part, I think, is I've really done my homework. I've been a member of many committees throughout the community. I served on the Planning Commission. I was the chair of the Planning Commission. I have been a member of the Huntington Beach Chamber of Commerce for many, many years, and I was the chair of the chamber in 2009, and I also got to serve on that committee, the Centennial Committee here in town. So I think my experience transcends many communities, and I look for less mandate, less regulation, because businesses need to communicate to the city how well they want to do. Thank you.
Barb? Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark Bixby. I've been a software engineer all my life. I've had a very well-rounded work background. I have years in public service as a software engineer. I also have years in private industry as a software engineer working for Hewlett Packard. I currently work for a very small business up in the Bay Area. We write school software. So I've been from small business to big business to public sector. Personally, I'm financially conservative. I'm the son of parents who experienced tough times in the Great Depression, and I've inherited that conservatism from them. You can ask my wife, Julie, how much research I have to do in order to sign off on big personal financial decisions, and that will carry forward to what I do for the city. Thank you.
Billy?
Billy O'Connell, and it's great to be here with you tonight. And I'd like to give you a quick overview of who I am. I was born in New York City. I was raised in Ireland. My dad had a bar and a restaurant. I spent many hours working in that business. Came back to New York at 17 years of age with $300 in my pocket. Graduated college. I came to Huntington Beach, and I was a sheriff in Los Angeles County for several years. Started an organization called Colette's Children's Home. From the tailgate of a pickup truck, we've taken over 3,000 homeless women and children off the streets. Last year, we helped 150 people find work and retain it. I know how to balance books. I know what it is to be up at night, not knowing if you're going to cover payroll. I know the challenge of the balance in our books. I'm very involved in our city. I currently own a business outside of the nonprofit I run. I've also been endorsed by the businesses in our community, by the Huntington Beach Chamber of Commerce, because they believe in the work that I do. I have a proven track record of success. We've given hope to people that have none. And it's very, very simple, my friends. When I look out at this audience, I see working men and working women, small business owners and big business owners. It's very simple. We have to live within our means. Thank you.
Mr. Bosey?
Hi, thanks for coming, everyone. I'm currently employed in the international business. I'm responsible for 20 people and a $20 million budget. I know it's not a $300 million budget, but the math is the same. Prior to that, my wife and I owned a business here in Huntington Beach for about 12 years. That budget was much smaller. And what I'm going to bring to the city of Huntington Beach as your city councilman is revenue is important to the city. And key to revenue is business retention and attraction of new business. Also with economic development, we have a track record on the planning on the planning commission for sound economic development that makes sense, that brings revenue to the city. I know how to balance a budget. I've done it and live within my means. I'm also endorsed by the Chamber of Commerce PAC, among other business leaders. Thank you.
And Eric Peterson?
The reason I picked the last seat, it's easy to get up here. My name's Eric Peterson, and I am a business owner in Huntington Beach for about 10 years. I started my own company. I have an office here and down in San Diego. Electrical contractor, both high voltage and low voltage. Before that, like I said before, I served in the Marine Corps for 5 years, so that little different type of management there. But prior to that, I also had 12 years experience as a COO for a company that had an interconnect company, had 6 offices within the state and also over in Nevada, which we built a CO, a $30 million central office that I was the project manager on. So I know about payroll, I know about budgets. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, this next question will begin with Lynn. And you'll have 2 minutes to answer this question, each of you. 2 minutes. The question is, if you had a choice of making a decision that affected the entire community, like banning certain consumer items, would you feel comfortable making the decision for the total population or working towards a vote of the people, and why? 2 minutes. And you'll get a 1-minute warning on this? Yeah.
Morning already? Thank you. Well, repeat the question one more time, Jerry.
Sure, let me help you with this.
Thanks, I know it's just short for me. Thank you.
All right, question. If you had a choice of making a decision that affected the entire community, like banning certain consumer items, if you had a choice of making a decision that affected the entire community, like banning certain consumer items, would you feel comfortable making the decision for the total population or working towards the vote of the people, and why?
That's an easy one for me. I think that our constitutional principles are extremely important, and I think that when we're talking about things like a plastic bag ban or a styrofoam ban or different issues like that, these are things that are affecting our individual liberties, which are, again, very important in the Constitution, and I don't think that a city council majority of 4 people should be making a decision like that. It's instead something that should be put to a vote of the people. We need to be really careful when we are intruding on how people should live their everyday lives. Really, the role of government instead should be less intrusive. It should be public infrastructure, taking care of that, providing public safety, certain other vital services. So I'm very supportive of the right of the people to vote. That is what our forefathers wanted us to have. And the power is in the people, not in the government. And so I, in this type of instance, think we should have the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara? Again, 2 minutes.
I don't believe it's the charge of the council to mandate, ban, regulate to the point where the residents of the community are up in arms. There must have been some kind of disconnect. And I believe that's what happened with the plastic bags. I don't think the community really understood, and I think the majority went ahead and voted. And people are mad, and I don't blame them. I think the council's job is to listen and to make decisions based on what's best for the whole community. And there may be situations where 4 people or 5 people or 7 people cannot really make that decision, and we would have to go to the people. There's been so many different scenarios, but in general, I'm not for mandates, I'm not for bans. I believe bringing the stakeholders around the table, bringing to the understanding of what's going to be better for the community is my #1 priority. I saw that happen personally on the styrofoam. The Huntington Beach Chamber was the leader. They brought a lot of the stakeholders around the table, and the problem was discussed openly about what the issues are, and at the end, they decided not to go forward with the ban. So if you're interested in how I feel, that would be a way that I would respond to a situation like that. Thank you.
Mark?
In a representative democracy, the people who are elected and sit up at the front of the room are tasked with making the big decisions. I'm a software engineer. I solve problems every day in my life, sometimes very complex problems. The way I've approached every issue with the city is to do very in-depth study, read everything, talk to staff, meet with stakeholders, visit the site, and do very, very deep research, and then try and attempt to reach a decision on my own. If I'm able to reach a decision that I think has a solid foundation, I'm good with making the decision myself. Where I would think a vote of people would be called for would be if it was something that was very hard to reach a decision on, there was great community division, and so under those cases, it would be okay to take it to a vote of the people. But in a city of 200,000, you can't send everything to a vote of the people. Nearly every line in the zoning code affects personal liberty. Most lines in the municipal code also affect personal liberty. And you just can't pull those hundreds of votes. You'd be paralyzed. If you were a small rural New England town where you could fit half the population in City Hall, you could do, sure, all in favor, raise your hands and conduct business that way. But it doesn't scale in the city of 200,000. So that's my philosophy on granting things to votes. Thanks.
Mr. O'Connell.
First of all, I want to tell you, I love this country. We live in a great country, and I've had the opportunity to do some traveling over the years. And a lot of people don't realize what a wonderful country we live in. Government has no place in telling me whether I can use a plastic bag or whether my kids can use a fireworks. Government needs to stay out of our way in many ways. Government is too big. And that's how we lose democracy, when you start taking a little piece at a time away from people. No city council person should tell me whether I need to use a cloth bag or a plastic bag. It's very, very simple for me. no city council person should have the right, me, a law-abiding citizen, to tell me whether I can use fireworks or not. It hasn't done anything for the use of fireworks in our city. What it has done, it has cost many of our community organizations hundreds of thousands of dollars of benefit from the sales. And that I have a huge problem with. When I see poor kids in our neighborhood that are struggling to get football gear, cheer for dance cheer, where they would have had an opportunity to sell fireworks and raise money that we could celebrate Independence Day, where we have the opportunity of freedom, where people before us gave their lives for freedom, and now all of a sudden we have a city council that just want to come out and take that away from us. I got a huge problem with that. So that's where I come from. And I believe by you being here tonight, you care about our community, and that's very important. So keep up the great work, and thank you.
Mike Posey.
Yeah, the plastic bag ban is near and dear to my heart. City Council has no business banning plastic bags. Even worse, City Council had no business telling stores to charge 10 cents for paper bags. Giving paper bags away for free, they used to give them away for free. Banning plastic bags is, I think, more or less of a nanny state. We're grown-ups, we know what to do, we know how to recycle them. Same goes with fireworks. I'm glad the fireworks ban is going back to the voters, thanks to Matt Harper and Joe Carcio, among others, Dave Sullivan, I think. And we just have an erosion of freedoms, and it started, more than 25 years ago with seatbelt laws. Seatbelts were a good idea. Do we need the police to enforce seatbelt laws? Helmet laws are a good idea on motorcycles. Do we need the police to enforce helmet laws? Helmet laws for bicyclists, too. Kids 18 years and younger have to wear a helmet. I never wore one. Do we really need that? Do we need the city council to do that? No, we need the city council to focus on the budget, focus on business retention, business attraction, making the city a great place to live, and having the funds to pay for it, and not chase pet projects. Thank you.
Eric?
I believe the city needs to focus on what a municipality is supposed to focus on. It was mentioned, public safety, infrastructure, spurring economic development so we have the money coming into the city to pay for the things we want as citizens. I don't think we should be in the job of pushing any type of ban that's going to affect that economic development. Additionally, ordinances that I have parents. I'm a parent. I'm a responsible adult. I don't need my city being my parent. It's very important to me to get the city minimally involved in my life and the lives of the citizens. And our last council, I remember them coming up with the great idea of charging our residents for ambulance service and fire service. Well, it took about a month before they figured out that was a bad idea, and they had the wherewithal to say, hey, let's get rid of this. Our current council doesn't. They have a filled hall. Is that it? No, they have a filled hall of people saying, hey, let us vote on it. And they dig their heels in. So I think we should, in things that affect the entire city, and especially the economics of this city, we should let the people vote. And especially if you have a lot of people coming to the council, because as a commissioner, mostly it's crickets. You hear no one. And city council, there's not a lot of people that come up. But when you fill those chambers, something's going on, and they need to listen to us.
Matt Spolsky.
What a travesty. I'm starting. What a travesty. Special interests affect everything that we do. They affect those of us that seek endorsements. Can't run without endorsements. They affect the city council that bends to the will of special interests, throws bag bans on one day, turns around another day and says, let's put rent control on the ballot. Not even a statewide issue, not even a citywide issue. Let's put rent control on the ballot and use that as a hammer to get what we want from one rental company, one mobile home park. The question was, should the city council take issues that are citywide and put them on the ballot? And the answer is no. The city council is charged with those types of mandates. Vote us out. No, they shouldn't be on the ballot. However, that's not the problem. The problem is these issues shouldn't have even been considered. Joe, I thank you for negotiating a settlement of that issue. That's what should have happened at the beginning, and that's why there should be a mediator to address some of those issues. There are ways that special interest groups get things on the ballot all the time. Infecting the city council with individuals' special needs to throw stuff on the ballot is an abuse of the process. City council members who put special interest agenda items on the ballot and then take them off? Oh, please. That's why we need change. And that's why I'm running for change.
Thanks, all of you. Our next question, we'll start with Barbara. And again, this is a 2-minute question. You have 2 minutes to answer. The question is, according to some estimates, the city has unfunded liabilities in the area somewhere south of $1 billion. Are you comfortable with the imbalance in the city finances? And if not, what measures would you pursue as a council member to narrow the deficit?
So, no, I'm not comfortable with the amounts. However, I do applaud some of the recent decisions by the city. And I believe it was a couple of weeks ago that the treasurer had presented a financing plan paying down some of the unfunded liabilities. I think our public safety has stepped up in this most recent round of contracts and are paying more toward their purse. And those are the kind of steps that we need to take, I think, to solve the long-term problems. This didn't happen overnight. If you really study the issue, it's some decision made by the city a long time ago is really why we face some of this today. Instead of really thinking this out, a lot of the decisions made in lieu of raises were real paid fees. And a lot of cities did that. The state did that. They didn't address it. So we really need to face it, because you know what? If we want the city to thrive and really go into the future, we must generate more revenue to the city so we can have healthy public safety. We must fix our infrastructure. And so again, attracting new businesses, retaining the ones that we have, that's really the best way. You know, cutting back, not allowing this, mandating that, regulating that. Look, if you want to make more money, you get more business. You go out and you attract more businesses. You bring more exciting things to the city. People come here and they want to be here. They want to spend their money here. So we can do, I think, manage it better going into the future. And it's a smarter way to do it. And I believe everybody has been willing to contribute. Thank you.
Mark Bixby.
I want to say that I applaud the current council's effort in terms of prepaying down certain categories of unfunded liabilities. The council has already taken steps that will save something on the order of $55 million over the next several decades by prepaying certain liabilities. I use that technique in my own personal life with my 2 unfunded liabilities that are also known as mortgages. I've had 2 30-year mortgages. I paid off the first one in about 7 years. I paid off the second one in about 3 years. I get it. Paying off debt early gets you freedom. It reduces worry. It's a great way to live. I can't quite pay off $1 billion of city liability that easily, but I have the discipline to continue what the current council has started. In terms of the current council, they've moved towards full PERS employee pickup. I completely support that. All the employees are now paying their full share of the employee benefit. and I will continue that level of fiscal discipline on council. Thank you.
Billy?
I think we need to understand the issue. Basically, when you throw out the number 1 billion, basically a 1 billion is not due right now. It's like when you buy a home, you have a mortgage. Granted, in the next couple of years, there will be a couple of $1 million due. And I'm not happy with that. But I think we need to commend the people that work in our city for stepping up to the plate. When we were in a financial crunch, they gave back. They held everything aligned, and they gave back so that our city should work. And I take my hat off in respect to those folks. Secondly, in order to fix this issue, I believe we have to have public safety as a number 1 priority. Our business community needs to be in a position where we roll out the red carpet and the red tape, and we need to fix our infrastructure. What that will create will bring more revenue into our city, more money into our tax base, where we'll be able to fund those. This is something that can happen, and we can do it together. But no, I'm not happy the way it is right now. Pension reform is taking place. It is taking place at the state level. But you also have to understand, our employees, over the last couple of years, instead of getting pay hikes, they forego their pay hikes so that their pensions would be picked up. So when people hear 1 billion, they need to understand the story, the full story. And they need to understand when there was extra millions of dollars that should have been set aside for our pension obligations, they were not. They were spent in other areas of the city. So that's my understanding. But you know what? I'm a big believer. You live within your means, you pay down your debt, and we can do it together. Thank you.
Mike?
Yes, I echo some of those sentiments. We do need to pay down the debt, keep on track of it, and also, I talked earlier about business retention and traction of business. As a planning commissioner, I voted with some of my colleagues here to add 2 new hotels. Those 2 hotels add $1.5 million in transit occupancy taxes. Those are the kind of developments that we're going to be looking at in Huntington Beach to raise revenue, to keep working on paying the debt down. I spoke earlier today to a member of the police, and he was telling me that they're contributing 8% now towards their own retirement, which is a big plus and a big help. Public safety is important. We need to keep the public safety safe so we can attract the business, make it a safe place to do business. And attracting and retention of business and raising revenue is the way to do it. So, and living within our means.
Eric?
Well, it's something we're all going to have to deal with at one time or another. I think it can be handled both at the negotiating table and by spurring business here. But growing our economy is only going to get us so far because the costs are exponential. The 8% they're paying is great. That's not really the problem what's being put in. It's the return that CalPERS isn't getting to cover it. And when they don't cover the pension, we're on the hook for it. So I'm not for taking anything from what we promised these people, but going forward, we need to look at something else. And maybe, and like I said, that's done at the negotiating table to make sure that we don't have this ongoing burden. Right now, our percent of our budget's about over 70% is employee costs. In most well-run cities, it runs in the 60s. If we have 72%, and we have 15% that has to go to fixing infrastructure, we're not left with a lot to keep the lights on and do everything else. So if a big chunk comes from us from CalPERS saying, hey, you need to spend $5 million because we're short, or 20 million or 10 million or whatever that is, we have to come up with it. So we lose something else as taxpayers. So I think they've done a great job this time. I think we can do better. And just keep working with them. But the biggest thing is get economic growth in this city and get it vibrant. A vibrant economy will solve a lot.
Thanks, Eric. Alex?
It's a big enough question that I had to write notes. And my wife of 36 years sitting there brought me the pen to do it. Thank you, Alex. You know, You're gonna hear it, you gotta hear it. My family immigrated from Kiev. They died broke. That instilled in me the concept of living a debt-free life that I have utilized throughout my life. I have had many less toys because I've wanted that. Smaller houses because I've wanted that. Those are business decisions I've made for myself. And I've had a great life. Now let's get to the city. Regulation that drives out business is terrible for the city. Managed debt balanced against revenue is not necessarily a bad thing, but it has to be balanced against revenue. And it's the revenue part that we have to talk about. We have to talk about, again, the regulation that drives out business and actions that keep in business. Police, fire, infrastructure, easy permitting for businesses to get things done, easy permitting for homeowners, and bars, library, annexation, the Ridge Project. There are so many different ways that we can spend money. Why did I red paddle annexation cost? I want the money to make sure that our police and fire are some of the highest paid in the beach cities. I don't want them compared to Compton. I want them compared to Newport Beach. I want our businesses to be attractive, our streets to be clean. I don't want our bars to be heavily regulated. Sorry, downtown. I want a police presence downtown keeping the drunks off the street. In order to do that, we need to have the money for the police agencies. So we have to balance our incoming and outgoing revenue against that debt level. We don't need to...
I think we got it.
Last but not least, well, I'm going to agree with a lot of what's being said already. Of course, I'm not comfortable with that kind of a liability, and I don't think anyone here would be comfortable with that. No business would be having that kind of a debt. And I don't think the employees are comfortable with it either. They want to make sure that on a going forward basis, the city can meet its obligations so that the monies will be there for their pensions on a going forward basis. So what is the answer? It's partly generating more revenue to meet the needs of the city and whatever those liabilities are. As others have said, it's really beefing up our economic development and making this a more business-friendly city. We hear about this all the time, that businesses don't want to come to Huntington Beach because we make it difficult. So we need to change those policies, make it easier, bring in more revenue, and that will help some. It won't help enough. I'm a collaborator. I like working with people. I've done a lot of that in my life with diverse groups, bringing them together. I would like to sit down at the negotiating table and work on this with the employees. So it's a multi-pronged approach of how we're going to deal with this. It's not going to be easy, and I'm someone that's I'm comfortable making tough decisions, and I'm willing to do that. So, thank you.
All right, well, how are they doing? Are they doing okay? I just got to say, anybody that takes the time out of their lives, as busy as everybody's lives is, to actually do public service, even on the campaign trail, but let's say they get elected, and then they have to go through the entire process of, let's see, how many city council meetings have there been in the last month? Are we setting a presidency or what? I mean, just so do you have any idea what you guys are getting into? Well, anyway, I think they do. But I think you're doing a great job as well. And this is the last question coming up. And once they do that, then they'll have the opportunity to do their rebuttal or closing statements, however they choose to frame their comments. And we'll start this last question with Mark McKee. And that question is, again, 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to answer. Huntington Beach is growing at a very rapid rate due to all of the recent high-density housing construction. Are you for or against these high-density structures? And if you are for, what are the benefits? And if you are against, give us some measures as a council member that you would do to limit these projects. Mark, the mic is yours.
I am in favor of the goals of the Beach Edge Corridor specific plan. I have nothing against density in Huntington Beach. The issue for me is, can city services and city infrastructure scale to meet the extra demand that density places on the city? If we're collecting the right amount of development fees for these projects as they come forward, and if we're doing good planning to create a good livable city that's more walkable, that has more transit options than we do now, I think we're on the right track. The Beach Edger plan with its high density has been incredibly successful at spurring reinvestment in the tired Edger corridor. Edger looks great. Traffic sucks. I drive on the same roads that everybody else does, but the city is banking traffic improvement fees that will be spent to do improvements on Edger and Beach. So the city does have a plan to cope with some of these impacts of high density. And later this year, staff will be bringing an assessment of the performance of the plan before Planning Commission and City Council. And that'll serve as a checkpoint to say, hey, how are we doing? If we need to make some fine-tuning, I'd be in support of some fine-tuning. But in terms of the overall goal, I think Beach Edger has been good for the city, and I hope that the city continues to execute well on it. Thank you.
Really?
I live in Huntington Beach and I love Huntington Beach. I have children. I want my city to be able to have a place for our kids to grow up if they wish to grow up in our city. In order to afford a one-bedroom apartment here in Orange County today, you got to make it the equivalent of $26 an hour. So the people that work in our city, they need workforce housing. They need housing so they can provide our businesses good work standards, so they don't have to travel from outside the community. When I look at the Beach Edger corridor, I'm in favor of that. But I also look, when I do a project, you got to look at the pro forma. You got to go 10, 15, 20 years out and try and project the cost of that project. Look what it's going to do in our infrastructure. The call for police services, the call for fire department services, the call for city services. And that's what we have to look at. I believe we're moving in the right directions. We haven't seen any big projects or any projects in our city for a long time. So I'm in favor of developing. I'm also in favor of looking at the formulas, projected formulas going out to see that it's cost effective to everybody involved. I also want to share something which is just a little off track. Recently, our police department were involved in seizing 7 pounds of heroin in our community. So that is something that's going on in our community, and we have to be aware of that also. I know it's off the subject a little bit, I just wanted to bring that up because I feel it's important. But good responsible development is good. But we also got to bring in retail to match that. Thank you.
Mike Posey.
I'm also a supporter of the Beach Edger Corridor specific plan, not because I'm an Agenda 21 supporter or anything like that. It's because that Huntington Beach is growing. We need to attract younger people. We need to keep them here and have to have an affordable place to stay. Not everybody can afford a single-family home in Huntington Beach, but maybe they can afford a nice luxury apartment. Maybe those apartments get turned into condos in the future. I think maybe what's got everybody concerned about the Beach Edger Corridor specific plan is that they seem to all be popping up at the same time. Maybe if they came one at a time, it'd be a little bit easier to digest. We need the property taxes that they generate. We need the people that live here to work here. One of the things I learned in the general plan update meetings was that only 11% of Huntington Beach residents work in Huntington Beach. We need to change that, and I think maybe we can change that since we have all these new young residents. Maybe they'll be starting businesses. We can help them start businesses and work in Huntington Beach and work towards that goal of generating the revenue that we need to keep public safety and infrastructure and some of the other things paid for. Thank you.
Eric?
Personally, I'm happy that the plan's coming up for review. The Beach Edger specific plan was a plan put forth so that we could attract developers and give them a set of rules and say, come to our city and invest in our city. The original mixed use, I perceived it a little more high end. I don't think that we have a lack in Huntington Beach. I mean, if you want to grow, we need apartments. But we've always had a nice balance in Huntington Beach of apartments, of homes, single-family tract homes, bigger tract homes, homes on the beach, mansions on the hill, mansions on the beach. We have this nice balance. And right now, we're building a lot of projects. There's some good ones, and I think there's some horrible ones that are just bringing in apartments, and they're not apartments that people are going to afford working downstairs at the Starbucks. So I would really like to make sure, as through the review process, that we have the infrastructure and the facilities to attract businesses that will bring in those higher paying jobs and develop higher paying condominiums or homes of $1 million homes, anything like that, and live in what we have here in the city. And as projects come along, look at them individually and say, hey, this is good for the city, this is bad for the city. But maybe take a look back and see where the beach entry specific plan has failed us, maybe in the traffic mitigation part of it, and where it has been successful in revitalizing things within our business corridors.
Thanks, Eric. Alex?
Huntington Beach is going to grow, and it's going to grow this way. There's going to be higher density. There's going to be apartments. There's going to be condos. There's going to be high-rises. But the reason that people like me are running, people who certainly don't need the job, is because we love the city and we think there needs to be a change in the way the city has grown. I don't need the job. I'm not taking the money. I think there's been a huge mistake. Beach Edinger started out beautifully. I'm an ex-BIA member, Building Institute of America. I understand builders. I mediate with builders. They will flush money into things when they're hot and walk away when they're cold. Big box stores will flush money in, push local out, but if things go bad, they're gone. They abandon the lease and they're gone. So, yes, we need to build. Yes, we need to grow, but we need to do it in partnership. So the Edinger corridor, sweet. Where's the roadway mitigation before the corridor was built? If you build a corridor, you develop it beautifully, then you tack on a large number of high-density apartments, which is not a terrible thing. But you don't pair it with roadway mitigation, which can usually be paid for by the builder. Then what you get is congestion and clog. Then people will stop going. Then places will empty. The merchants will leave. And we'll be stuck with empty big box stores. If we build high density and we attract lots of people, guys, we need to pay our police and our fire because we need to expand our police and our fire for that density. So we need to bring them in, we need to make it attractive, but we need to do it with appropriate balance so that we remain Huntington Beach, Surf City.
Thanks, Alex. Lynn?
Yes, I think one of the problems with what we're seeing right now is that we don't have the public transportation in place, and we're seeing, great increases in traffic. I mean, so many people that I speak to around the city are very upset about the traffic that we're experiencing. So if we're going to have development like this, then we need to make sure the infrastructure is in place first. We do need developers in our city to invest in large projects like this. We need the income from it. But what I would really like to see more of is building that brings in jobs, more commercial development where we are bringing in more white-collar jobs, for instance, all different levels of income so that these people that are coming will be purchasing our goods and our services. So I think that it's good to have new development. It's good to have some type of growth, certainly, but we need to have things in place first that need to be there. And that doesn't seem to be happening in this instance. We need to work with the developers, and right now our general plan is being updated, And so all of you have an opportunity to be a part of that process. And what is the vision that you want for our city? Is it the type of development we're seeing now or something possibly different? Get involved. So thank you.
Hey, last but not least, Barbara Del-Blaze.
So yes, I've been in favor of some of the density, and I'll tell you why. We haven't had any apartments built in the city in over 25 years. So Beach Edge Recorder really helped a lot of developers and contractors come into the city and have certainty. If you're going to invest in a city, you need certainty. Come on, your business, you want to get a return. I will agree, it's kind of like making Thanksgiving dinner. You can't always get everything to come out at the same time and have it be hot. So I couldn't agree with you more about the traffic. We've been, I think, slow at the switch at that one. But think about this. If we have walkability, that means people get out of their cars. They can go to dinner, they can go to the gym, they can go to a movie. My concern is we have a fabulous city here. It's called Surf City. I don't want it to be called Senior City. We need to retain our youth. If we don't have youth living here, no one's going to be able to pay for all the wonderful things that we want, right? And there's other advantages. We now can get really excited about maybe transportation, different ways of doing it. Maybe with a trolley. Maybe there's going to be light rail. We can have better bus systems. I'm really passionate about working with OCTA. I serve on the Citizens Advisory Commission. Huntington Beach, they don't even know we're here. Everything else is connected. Why don't we have an Angel bus? Or why don't we have a trolley that goes around town? Fountain Valley has a transportation management system in their community. We have to have that. They can manage their lights, they can synchronize their lights. They have ways of determining better flows of traffic. We need that in our city, we need it today. I'm very passionate about transportation. When I'm elected, I'm going to make it one of my #1 issues to get off the dime here and get people moving. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the question portion of the evening. And now what we have left is the 3-minute, I call it rebuttal, or you can call it a closing statement again, however you all wish to frame your final comments. And we're going to start with Eric Peterson, and then we'll go right down the line here. Then Alex Polsky will have the last word. Eric?
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Huntington Beach Community Forum. I mean, to get over 100 people out here to listen to us is a great thing. And the work you're doing on the forum is having a huge impact in this city's politics. It is a good thing. It's great to see people coming up and getting involved in their community. As someone who served in the community on finance board and planning commission, or as a scoutmaster, or whatever I do, volunteer work, it's always great when you have a good group of volunteers coming out, or you have a lot of civic participation. So thank you very much for this forum. We live in a tremendous city. We live in, I have friends from the Marine Corps back in New York. They're dying right now. It's hot. They need air conditioning. We don't need air conditioning here. Don't open the windows. It snows back there. If we want weather, we go visit weather. This is a great city. I'm raising my kids here. I want to retire here. Yes, we need development. Yes, we need to spur, and that brings in money. I want to make sure it's the right development. I want to make sure that, hey, it has a good balance. It fits our community view. And through the GPAC committee, we're getting a lot of people, a lot of input there. I want the people to have the input on that. We're the ones who pay for everything. We should have a little input on that. I believe our city needs to attract business and the developer, because development is a business, with rules that they can easily follow. When I come to start a business in Huntington Beach, I want to know what floor I have to go to in City Hall to get things done, and what floor I have to go to get a problem. I don't want to have to know the mayor, or know a city councilman, or know a planning commissioner to get something done. Everyone should be able to go in there and know right where to go. Making it easy for business, taking away regulations, not taxing businesses, not encumbering the rights of our citizens, planning the city so that we have good police and fire, we have well-maintained infrastructure. These are the things that are the job of the city. And when I'm elected, I'll focus on these things. I'll focus on the basics of this, what we need to do in this city, and not get involved in anything having to do with taking away your liberties, because that's not our job there. Our job is to make sure everything's fine. You go to the park, you go to the beach, it's clean, it's nice. We work with people like the Chamber, like the BID, all these organizations that want a great environment, and we work with our school districts. You know, as a city, they have a lot of open space that we get to use. So build these relationships, manage the city well, and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Mike Posey.
Well, like I said before, I've lived in Huntington Beach for 15 years with my wife. We live downtown. We chose downtown so we can walk to the bars, the restaurants, and the beach. And we looked, before we bought our house 15 years ago, we looked from Manhattan Beach all the way to Dana Point and chose Huntington Beach because we love Huntington Beach. We want to help, I want to help make this city a better place to live. And I know I talked a little bit about business retention and attracting business, and how am I going to accomplish that? Well, I think the best way to accomplish that is to reach out to business with business owners, maybe form a task force, and meet the businesses and make sure that they're going to stay here. I wouldn't want to be mayor of Huntington Beach and be caught like the mayor of Torrance with Toyota moving out of state and taking 3,000 jobs with them. That's pretty embarrassing. And I know when I had my business for 12 years, and I only was visited by the city one time, and that was for my occupancy permit. It would have been nice to have some outreach from the city to say, hey, are you happy here? Why did you move here? Can you stay? And that's what prompted me to join the Chamber of Commerce, to meet local business owners, get to know them, know what their concerns are in the city, make sure they want to stay. We want them to have a safe place to do business, an attractive place to do business, and customers to sell to. And that, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Billy McClendon.
First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you tonight for coming here, and I would really appreciate your support. We've talked a lot about public safety, business, and infrastructure tonight. And I want to share a couple of quick points in each and every one of those. Basically, public safety. At the height, we had 239 officers. Right now, we have 212 police officers in our city. At times in our city, there may be only one officer to cover 20,000 people. That's totally unacceptable to me. I believe our police officers are paid about $13 in Orange County. If we want to have good quality police officers, we have to have the incentives for them to come to our city. Business. 2 weeks ago, I visited a small business owner in our city, and I could not believe some of the legislation and bureaucracy that was placed upon that person. In order for them to have an outdoor table with an umbrella on top of that, they had to get a permit to put the umbrella on the table. This is some of the stuff that our businesses are facing. I think it's crazy. This was in Sunset Beach. Also with our public infrastructure. We have an aging infrastructure. We have to fix that. We have to set funds aside to make our infrastructure good working. I believe in being preventive rather than be reactive to an issue. Also, I believe our senior center needs to be built. I have a lot of respect for the seniors in our city. A lot of them live on fixed income. And I have visited some of the seniors' home. I've seen that many times they don't get the opportunity to get out of their homes. I think it would be wonderful to have a good senior center where they can go and enjoy themselves. They are the ones that built this city. They are the ones that gave back to the city. We should never forget that. Now, also with the annexation of Bolts and Chica, I have spoke to our city manager about that. And basically, he feels that it should not cost the city any money. The County of Orange can give money to that. But also, I believe that we can work with nonprofits in our community to run Bolts and Chica. Look at what it would do for the quality of life. Could you imagine having roadways straight down to the beach? And they don't make any more land. And I'd rather see the city of Huntington Beach controlling the Bolts and Chica than having the county or some other agency dictate to dictate to us what's next door to us. I believe that's a gem, it's a jewel, and we should protect it. And I believe the city of Huntington Beach can do a great job in doing that. So there's some of the things that I've seen. I'm currently endorsed by Assemblyman Travis Allen, Jim Silver, former mayors of Huntington Beach, our Sheriff Sandra Hutchinson, the Huntington Beach Chamber of Commerce. And I would really, really love to have your report, because I will work hard for you, I will make things happen, and I live within my means. Sometimes people say I'm too frugal, that I squeak when I walk, but I will stretch the taxpayers' dollar to the maximum. Thank you.
Mr. Mark Bixby.
I've served on Plan Commission for the past 4 years, where I've been in support of responsible growth and balance with neighborhood quality of life. During those 4 years, I've approved approximately 1,100 residential units, over 150,000 square feet of commercial uses. I think those have all been quality developments that are access to our city. There's a fundamental lack of knowledge by some of our current planning commissioner candidates and former planning commissioner candidates on how traffic mitigation works in Beach Editor. The city is actually collecting fair share traffic impact fees that the city is banking until the city has enough money to actually execute on the traffic improvements. The city has been doing some proactive acquisition of easements for extra turn lanes and so on and so forth. So the city is doing the work to plan for the future traffic impact mitigation. Another tool that the city currently uses are development agreements. I would expect my planning commissioner colleagues to know this, but development agreements are done between the applicants of projects and the city to give each side something that they want. And often the city can negotiate with applicants to get street improvements and nearby projects and storm drain upgrades. So there are tools in place to do these infrastructure improvements, and the city is doing them as the big projects come through. I'm strongly in favor of the Bolsa Chica annexation. If some of the other candidates had actually read the annexation study, they would know that it's net neutral to net positive in income. I strongly support this. It's a whole missing from Huntington Beach. It will be a part of Huntington Beach eventually once the county tires of it. So we should do it now to make sure it's done right. The general plan update, though, is actually the most important thing going on in the city right now. This will determine our roadmap through the future challenges and opportunities over the next 25 years. Public participation is extremely important. It touches on a whole spectrum of things, from the mix of housing to transportation to whether we are going to revitalize or convert the Gothard Industrial Corridor, and to what we're going to do about sea level rise as a coastal city. It's hard to believe that there are candidates who think that sea level rise is not real, and that's extremely reckless if you're running for city council in a coastal city. Last, I'm running for council because I want to see government in my hometown be well done. I'm not headed for Santa Ana. I'm not headed for Sacramento. I'm not somebody who thinks we should be playing silly games on city council with agendas that are politically driven rather than policy driven. So I thank you for coming tonight. Community involvement is one of the best things about Huntington Beach, and please consider me in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Barbara Del Blaze.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd really like to thank all of you for coming out tonight. Again, you're taking your time to come and listen to all of us. I'm very passionate about the community. As I said, I raised my daughter here. We moved here in the early 70s. It was a lot different. But one of the things I'm very passionate about, and I brought to my own business, is a collaboration and cooperation when you have buyers and sellers come together. Why do they come and live here? Because Huntington Beach is very special. And I would agree, there's a lot of things that the city does right. Part of the reason I want to be your next city council member is because I believe that we can do, from now on, I have a vision about things that we can bring to the city for our future. You know, there was at one time, we had a lot of oil wells on the beach, right? We were a farming community. Then we came suburbia, and we had a lot of big businesses come in. And we're changing again, and we've really become a city of tourism. And the good thing I think about that is because if tourism is good and the tourism is up, and we're building hotels, that means we're getting a lot of revenue. take care of our infrastructure, which is very, very old. And I agree with a lot of the people who want to annex the Bolsa Chica. I'd love to do that. I did read the Bolsa Chica annexation plan, and it made it look like it's neutral. But let me just say to you today that if we don't have the money, if we've got other things to pay for, if we have an emergency or a giant flood or something like that, do you think we have the money to do that? We need the county and the state. The only way that that would really, really work is if it ends up being, at the end, I think, a bit more positive for Huntington Beach. I've taken a lot of time out of my own schedule to do a lot of education. I've been to a lot of forums within the city. I've been on 4 or 5 water trips to the state to understand better what our water needs are. I serve on a number of commissions here in the county to better understand. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of resources out there. We do a lot of things right. There's people that actually do some things better. Let's bring them and help us make this better. I've been a member of the Chamber for a very, very long time. The Chamber is a real supporter of good business in the community. They want the city to do well. I served on the Planning Commission. I'm a member of the Seroptimist. I'm a member of a long-time member of the Huntington Beach Council on Aging. I'm very passionate about our seniors, and I do want the senior center built in ours. I'm passionate about wanting to build affordable housing for our workforce. And no, I'm not in favor of rent control. I think we can attract, incentivize builders to build more senior housing and housing to keep our youth here. There's ways to do it. We can do it together. It just takes good planning and people who are willing to communicate and collaborate. And vote for me in November. Thank you.
Lynn Smith, your final comments, please.
So my husband and I, who's here tonight, my husband of 26 years, Rich, we came back here in 1996 with our girls to raise them in this amazing city. And I wanted to stay that way. I have a lot of goals that I'd like to work on. The main one I've mentioned already tonight, but that is I'm passionate about making this a more business-friendly community so that we can bring more business here and help our current businesses to expand so that we can increase that tax base to do all the things that we need to do. And yes, our infrastructure is falling apart. Much of it was built in the 50s and 60s, and we have roads that are pockmarked and so forth. They really need to be taken care of. So that's, I want to work on pro-economic development, increasing tourism. I think it's wonderful that we're such a destination, and we want to encourage our visitors to keep coming. So I think that the hotels that are going in are fantastic. We need to do more of that. I also want to make, as I said, infrastructure an extreme priority. We really need to focus on that, and we will. I think being fiscally responsible is really important. It's something that we've talked a lot about tonight, that we need to retire some of that debt. We need to take control of that, and I would like to be a part of that. I also, again, think making sure that we're not violating the individual liberties of people in this city, that we're letting people live their lives the way they want to live their lives. I want to make sure that we're not banning things and restricting things that we shouldn't be. So that's another area that I want to work on. I also want to see that senior center built. We need to, our seniors, we owe them a lot. They helped make the city what it is today, and I think we need to provide a good place for them. We owe it to them, and I want to see that happen. One of the things I also really want to work on is more transparency in government and just getting the citizens involved. I would reach out to everyone and get your input and really act upon it. We've seen these city council meetings where many, many people are coming down, so much more than in the past. I think that's a wonderful thing. This forum, in fact, I think has been quite instrumental in that, getting people involved, and that's fantastic. So I would like to seek more input and listen to it and act upon it. So I hope to be able to serve you as City Council. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. And last but not least, Mr. Alex Polsky.
Can I have the dinger? I want to thank the people behind me that have served and that are currently serving on the City Council. So when I tell you that I'm the candidate for change, and I'm running because I think change is important, I don't mean to demean the hard work of anyone. But I have watched, and it's why I'm running. I have watched the website. I have watched a city council person saying that this group is just a bunch of people who agree with each other. Oh, you haven't read the website, if that's what you think. I listened to someone today say, I don't want it to be senior city. I'm sorry, Barbara, I love you, but that's offensive. I listened to somebody else at this table say, well, if you knew how entitlements and working with builders work, well, I do know. And I do know that it's not a function of necessarily collect. First you give the okay, then you let it all be built, then you collect the money, then you wait for the streets to, what did you say, suck, and then you figure out when you're going to use the money. That's not balanced, managed growth. I support growth, balanced, managed growth. I don't support a city council mucking around in our rights and our freedoms. I don't support a city council throwing things to all the voters all the time. I support a city council focusing on what matters. Balanced, managed growth, law enforcement, and business. I haven't joined Team Anything. I haven't chased around for a lot of individuals' endorsements, although I'm honored to have Tony Rokakis', but heck, I'm an ex-DA. I should have Tony Rokakis' endorsement. I care about the chamber. I've asked for their endorsement. I will ask for the endorsement of police and fire. That's it. That's the teamwork that the city needs. Police, fire, infrastructure, and all of you. I'm the candidate saying it's time for change. What do I mean? We have been a city of recycled, regurgitated civic leaders. No disrespect, they're putting in their time, but golly, there's term limits for a reason. You've run, you've done 2 terms, you've been the mayor, you're going to wait a couple of years, you're going to do it again. You want to move from planning commission to the city council to perpetuate the same issues that we're talking about here. No, it's time for change. It's time for change on the planning commission. It's time for change on the city council. Where are they? That's a man for change. Not an insider. Cares about the city. It's time for change. That's what I stand for. That's what I'm running. I'm not being supported or promoted by cronyism, by civic insiders or city insiders. That's not what I stand for. It is time for those practices to change. Balanced business, no new taxes, and senior center.
Thanks, Alex. Let's give them all a hand one more time. Once again, if you like what you heard tonight, you can hear it again because your Huntington Beach Chamber of Commerce will be hosting its candidate forum on September 17th. Now, you're all going to forget that, by tomorrow. But look in the paper, look on the website. There will be more candidate forums throughout the election season. But ours will be on September 17th. Again, if you can't make it, there will also be tapes for airing on Channel 3. And there will be 1 or 2 opportunities there that you'll be able to see exactly what the candidates have to say. Now, you saw 7 of the 11 tonight. 7 of the 11. So there are 4 seats open. If there's one thing I need to urge you all to do your research, do the due diligence, explore all the candidates and what they have to say. All of them. Yes?
What were the other 4 candidates' excuses for not being here?
I don't know.
So we can consider that as they don't care?
I wouldn't want to put words in their mouth, but they may have had previous.
What are your thoughts? You're the Chamber of Commerce.
My thoughts are they quite possibly might have had another engagement, depending. I have no
Not
idea.
giving them enough time to change them?
Can't answer for that. Certainly, but appreciate the comment.
Appreciate your answer.
What was I?
Sorry, that's a good question.
Yeah, where was I? Okay. September 17th, you'll have another opportunity, and not all of the candidates will be there on September 17th either. I already know that. So, but at any rate, again, you have the opportunity to see them again, tape or rebroadcast. I want to say a special thank you to all the volunteers who put this event together tonight. A huge shout out to the staff here at the whole world for the great work that they do. Very nice and volunteerism is a tremendous asset here in this community. This is a very giving community. Be involved, stay engaged, watch the community forum, go do your due diligence, and vote. Whatever you are, whatever side of the aisle, whatever stand on your issue, please vote. It's that important. I want to say thank you for me, again, to the candidates for taking the time out of their busy schedules. You all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.